Hey, what's going on, guys? Before I get into the topic of this video, I just want to announce the winners of the $50 PSN and Xbox card. Congratulations to West Coast Hockey 9 and Jeremy Lott. You two are the winners. I'll be in contact with you soon to sort out how I'll get you your prize. Thanks for everyone else who entered. I'll be doing more giveaways in the future, so don't worry about that. So, one of the most frequent questions I get asked is what camera angle do I use and why? To answer the first part of that question immediately, I use the fixed camera. This is basically the same thing as the default camera, which is high, but when the puck goes behind the net, it is slightly higher and there's slightly less camera movement. Let's get this straight. There is no correct camera angle. You should use the camera angle you do the best with. And if you want to experiment with another camera angle, I suggest you play with it for at least 20 games before you decide what you like best. More games would be ideal, but my point is here that you won't know if you like it by just playing like 3 or 4 games on it, because you have to get used to the ins and outs of that camera. Now, as many of you know, I was a big fan of the overhead camera last year and at the beginning of this year. I highly suggest you guys at least try it out if you haven't already. The advantages are that you see exactly what the skater sees. You see every single part of the ice, including behind the net, all the open players, and you can still see where your goalie is. The disadvantage is that you are far away, and this can make positioning yourself very difficult. You also can't get an effective read on the puck carrier from this far away, and I'll explain that in a little bit. The reason I switched back to fixed is simple. I personally perform better on a more immersive camera angle. The initial reason I switched was that they removed that blue arrow that tracked the puck from last year, and playing on overhead, I lost track of the puck too much. But let me be the first to say it. I love that there is no blue arrow. Part of playing goalie is tracking the puck, tracking the players, and knowing your position in the crease. Adding in the blue arrow may have made this easier, but I don't think it needs to be. I think that's a skill that goalies should learn, and honestly, it's not that difficult to learn. This is a challenge that all good goalies need to overcome, and having the blue arrow, like I said, that just takes away that challenge. So that being said, if they don't fix any of the current issues with goalies next year, I don't have a problem with putting the blue arrow back in because it's already hard enough. But I honestly think it is a good challenge, and it's good for goalies to learn how to track the puck without a display telling us where it is. Anyway, let's get back on track here. I basically weighed the advantages and disadvantages of fixed and overhead and picked what I thought would help me the most. Overhead lets you see every player on the ice, but is that necessary for me? On fixed, I may not be able to see the whole ice, but if I see 4 players on the ice in my view, I know that one guy is either on my back door or behind the net. When the puck is in the corner, you can still see the slot, so that's not an issue. So if that extra guy isn't there, if he isn't in the slot, he's obviously somewhere near the circles or going behind the net. The point is that his exact location isn't necessary to know. It will be given away according to the direction of the pass if it's made to him. This leads me to my next point. I can react to a pass or a shot way better when the camera's in close. You begin to pick up on what animations occur before a skater is going to make a pass or even aim a shot. This is important to me because a goalie, you can't cheat over too early. And on overhead, it will be very tempting to cheat because you see an open man. What you can't see is the puck carrier's animation to know if it's okay to cheat. This may be something you eventually pick up on if you're playing on overhead long enough, but as I said, I'm way more comfortable using the immersive camera angles, and I don't make any less saves because of the camera angle I'm using. There's just because guys are using overhead, and I know a lot of people use it, that doesn't mean they're making more saves than I could. It's just, honestly, it's just personal preference. Now, there are a couple nice things about overhead. One being that there's no camera movement, which makes plays such as wraparounds easier to handle, and it also means that there's no camera relative controls. Down is always down, left is always left. When I say that, technically they are still camera relative, but since the camera isn't constantly turning, you don't run into the issue of your left stick directions changing depending on the angle of the camera. For me, I personally get a better read on the play and the puck carrier. I have no issue saving wraps because I know what that play looks like from in close. I also don't need to see the whole ice because I can get enough information based on what's right in front of me and also what isn't in front of me to know where the person is off screen. Once again, for the 90th time, this is personal preference, okay? Find what works for you. I don't perform as well on overhead as I do on fixed, but maybe you will, so give it a try. Make sure you give every camera angle a chance. I mean, some of them are going to be less, ideal than others. I mean, I suggest either fixed or overhead, but I do know goalies who play on action, which is the camera where you can see the boards in the glass. I don't recommend that, but this guy seems to do okay on it. So, I mean, if you want to try it, give it a try. Even the broadcast one for fun, who cares? But like I said, probably want to stick to, fixed or overhead just because those are probably the ones you're going to be most competitive with. Oh, and one last thing. The game looks badass from the zoomed in camera angles, and your goalie looks sweet when you make big saves. This should honestly be the least of your worries if you're a competitive goalie, because it shouldn't matter what it looks like to you as long as you get the job done. But for those who are just wanting to play casually or for fun, that may be something to keep in mind. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video helped. I'll see you next time.